Good evening. I'm Juliette Dragus, and we are getting election results across Michigan tonight. The big one, the governor's race. We're live at the watch parties for gubernatorial Republican candidates John James, who's been declared the winner, Perry Johnson, who just gave a concession speech. We're also live at the watch parties for Michigan's U.S. Senate race, which has not been called yet. Democratic candidates Abdul El-Sayed and Haley Stevens. Right now, let's take a look at that race. It is still very close. 42% officially reporting El-Sayed leading Stevens 50% to 46%. 13 on your sides. Nick Nelson is live at El-Sayed's watch party in Detroit and joins us live with an update.
Yeah, Juliette, I would say the mood here has gone from jubilant to kind of cautiously optimistic. Abdul El-Sayed at one point leading by upwards of 55%. As you mentioned, that has narrowed as we've gone past 42% of the vote counted. I want to show you what it looks like behind me. You can see a number of supporters that are still here. As I said, sort of cautiously optimistic, talking with each other right now about this race and where it sits right now. As you mentioned, El-Sayed remains on top, although it is tight between him and his challenger, Representative Haley Stevens. It is still early in the race. About a little over 40% of the vote is counted, and it may still be a while before we hear from some of these counties. I will say that what we've seen throughout the night is that Abdul El-Sayed has led in Kent County, in the Grand Rapids area, and Haley Stevens has led sort of in the Detroit area, in the Detroit suburbs, and she is very, at last check, was very narrowly, at least ahead in Wayne County, so she's doing better on that side of the state. But again, it is a very close race here. It is still early in the count, so we will keep a tally of it. We are expected to hear from Abdul El-Sayed at some point tonight, and we will bring that to you once we get more. Reporting live, Nick Nelson, 13 on your side.
And as you just heard from Nick, that race is close. It could be a long night before we know who wins the U.S. Senate Democratic primary. Let's go now to political reporter Josh Albertus, who has more on the makeup of this race. You've been watching the numbers through the counties of the state all night tonight. What are you seeing now, Josh?
Yeah, jubilant. Optimistic when he said that, when Nick Nelson said that. I was not surprised at all when he said that, because we had been seeing a little bit of a larger lead for Abdul El-Sayed throughout the night. But then what changed? We got a large vote dump from what we've been talking about on the stream for the last 3 hours. Wayne County, home to Detroit, southeast side of the state. It is expected to be the largest pot of Democratic votes in the state, and we got a large vote dump from there, and Haley Stevens is winning Wayne County currently with about a quarter of the expected vote in by about 20 percentage points in Wayne County. And so whether or not we're going to see that continue, there's still a lot of vote to come out of Wayne County. But whether or not we continue to see that kind of margin is really going to play a huge factor in this race. But we are also seeing our reporters at watch parties tonight. Steve Iwanek from our Toledo affiliate has been at the watch party in Detroit.
Well, I'll tell you what, this race has gotten a lot more interesting in the last hour or so. We saw earlier tonight that Abdul El-Sayed had a major league, a double-digit percentage lead over Congresswoman Haley Stevens. But just in the last hour, we've seen a big shift. This race is now within about 3 percentage points. Our last check of the numbers, El-Sayed, had about a 50% vote, while Congresswoman Stevens held at about 47% of the vote. So this is becoming a neck-and-neck race. Coming into this contest tonight, El-Sayed had a progressive background. This was really an ideological battle for Democrats to process here in this primary election. He focused heavily on economic justice. He wants to fight to end what he calls forever wars, referencing the ongoing conflict right now in Iran. He has the backing of prominent progressives like Bernie Sanders and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, and he has criticized the Congresswoman throughout the campaign trail for her taking on a lot of money from the American Israel Public Affairs PAC. So it has been a heated campaign. Meanwhile, Congresswoman Stevens, she has the backing of a lot of the typical establishment Democrats, such as Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer, as well as Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer. So You know, for her, she has spent the last several months on the trail trying to tell voters that she is the best Democrat in terms of a position to hold this critical Senate seat as they approach the general election in November. She's leaned heavily onto her record in Congress, into manufacturing, and her work with the Obama administration back in 2009 with their efforts to rescue the auto industry, which Michigan knows very, very well. However, if this outcome were to hold and the progressive candidate were to take on the nomination for the Democratic Party, one political science expert back in Toledo, where I report from, told me that this could be extremely significant for Democratic politics. Take a listen.
If he wins really big, you know, on top of some other races that we've seen around the country in primaries, that could change who runs for office in 2028. You could see a lot more progressives running in states where they might not have expected to run.
But the confidence meter for the progressives was a lot higher earlier, but now it's starting to get tight. There might be a few beads of sweat coming off the brows of some of the people over in the Abdul El-Sayed camp. As you can see behind me, it's tough to see. There's a lot of cameras, but a lot of the supporters for Congresswoman Stevens are gathering. They've been hooting and hollering for the last hour because they've seen the results trickle in, and they are liking what they are seeing. So as soon as we learn more, we'll bring it to you on air and online. But for now, here in Detroit, Steve Iwanek, back over to you.
Thank you, Steve. John James is the winner in the Republican primary for Michigan governor. He will face Democrat Jocelyn Benson in November. Let's take a look at those results right now. James beat his opponent, Perry Johnson, as you can see, 50% to 36%. So it was by a wide margin. Our 13 on your side, Peter Elliott, is at John James' victory party. He joins us now live, and we just heard John James speak. He just wrapped up that victory speech.
It is all smiles here in Sterling Heights as John James wrapping up his victory speech just about 5 minutes ago. He's right here, right next to me. We'll show you right here. He is shaking hands with supporters. He is taking selfies. He is basking in this prospective win. The Associated Press calling this race for him. Again, hugging supporters right there. You can hear right now Sweet Home Alabama as performed by Kid Rock playing right now. Kid Rock is a friend of John James. He has done videos for him in this campaign. And now it is the soundtrack to this victory right now as he is mobbed right now by reporters and media as well. He spoke for just about 10 minutes, already on the attack against Jocelyn Benson, who the Associated Press has already called the race for as well. She, the Secretary of State here in Michigan, will be his likely Democratic opponent, already attacking her for being what he calls part of the problem in Michigan, particularly when it comes to education progress. More reporting coming out about Michigan falling in those rankings when it comes to their educational progress. He says she's part of the leadership that got Michigan here in the first place. His tagline, we've heard it all night, we've seen it on the placard on the podium there, freedom, not socialism. This will be a big part of the Republican Party's tact to push against the Democrats, painting Abdul El-Sayed and the Democratic slated candidates as radical. But again, a buoyant night here in Sterling Heights. A lot of excitement here. John James also outlining some of his other policy ideas here as well. Cutting taxes, lowering energy bills. He also wants to implement a Parents' Bill of Rights that would allow them to have a greater say in their children's education as well. A lot to look forward to there, but we are 90 or so days out until the general election. It will be John James versus Jocelyn Benson. A lot of excitement here in Sterling Heights. A lot of work to do until that happens. For now, reporting live on the east side, I'm Peter Elliott, 13 on your side.
A victory speech from John James and a concession speech from his opponent, Perry Johnson. 13 on your side's Jordan Hatfield is live in Troy, where he just heard that.
Yes, Juliet. Perry Johnson just at the podium about 10 minutes ago now, giving his concession speech. Still a speech where he was very grateful for his team, very grateful for his supporters who came out. Many of those supporters still here in this room, still hanging out, still talking amongst one another. Very much hopeful Perry Johnson was in his movement. He was very thankful for everybody who came out. He also mentioned that he's very inspired by the people who came out and supported everything he said, especially with his mega audit. He said that he's hopeful that this will continue on in the legislation and that there might be a chance to actually do this mega audit that he wants to perform in the state of Michigan. He said, quote, "One way or another, we are going to make sure Michigan is the greatest state in the union once again." That was how he closed out his concession speech, to many cheers from the crowd. Perry Johnson now going to spend some time with his family after this. It's unclear what the next steps are, but for right now the campaign has hit the end of its road, but he's still remaining optimistic for the future. Live in Troy, Jordan Hatfield, 39 Your Side.
We have other election results across our state. We want to begin with the Republican race for the 3rd District for the U.S. House of Representatives. Winner, Terry DeBoer, 79% wins very easily over Ryan Cushman. She will face incumbent Democratic Congresswoman Hillary Skolton in November. In Grand Rapids, voters decided the 2 candidates who will run for the open seat for 1st Ward Commissioner in November. As you can see, projected winner, Lindsay Perez-Pleshner. That seat has been vacant since Drew Robbins stepped down in February, leaving the ward with 1 commissioner. Here's the mental health millage in Ottawa County. It is passing so far. It has not yet been called, but it is winning 57% to 43%. And that is the renewal of the mental health millage, supporting mental health programs, substance use disorders, and more.